my fellow Americans, this is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 45 of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I know you've been waiting a long time for a new episode, and I apologize for that, but it is the holiday season, and you know, I hate the holidays personally. I'm not a holiday dude, but everything has been hectic, and there still has been work to be done. I've had to show my face at places and events and, you know, play jolly and jovial. But I knew I had to come back to you all. I had to make sure everything was going on like it should. And so, here we are. I am by myself again this week. I was supposed to have BC on here. But he has other things that he feels are way more important than coming to join me on the show. So I'm getting this out to you all by myself. Nonetheless, I got a bit of news to talk about, some catching up on some shows before a big crossover, so let's get right into it. This is some news I didn't get to have a chance to talk to you all about, but I'm going to break it down. Runaways is set to officially end with its third season that is premiering December 13th. That is going to be kind of sad. You know, this season was getting even more wilder, no pun intended, into the Runaways lore. And for it to now have the crossover of Cloak and Dagger, it was telling that it was coming with the cancellation of Ghost Rider as a project, with Cloak and Dagger's cancellation, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is now done, and everything being basically funneled into Marvel Studios. It was only a matter of time. It is because Marvel Studios wants to have one cohesive story going across television and film, and to be quite honest with you, I cannot be upset about it at all. But I am excited to watch the final season, to support a lot of people I know on the show, have some fun with it, maybe get a couple of them to come on the show and talk with me about it to you all. So that was one of the things. And also last night, we finally got, this morning. So, no. Let me give you the time frame exactly. It was said that today, which is December the 3rd, at 9 a.m. Eastern, which would be 6 a.m. here in Los Angeles, the first teaser trailer, whatever, for Marvel Studios' Black Widow would drop, right? So everybody was excited, setting their alarm clocks, because you know what's up. It's like it's the official kickoff to Phase 4. We want to know what this trailer is going to look like. Some people got a chance. We got to see some footage at San Diego Comic-Con. And for those who missed out on seeing it, they've been hearing about it. And so everybody was like, yo, I want to know what this is. And so that is understandable. But Disney pulled a fast one and dropped it at midnight. Now, I don't sleep. So I happened to be up anyway, and while I was awake, I decided to watch it and did a trailer reaction video at midnight in my onesie. Yeah, my comfy ass onesie, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I want another onesie, but I can't afford it right now. Like, I've been trying to find some nice 2XL onesies, and I've been really wanting a new one for this holiday season, but I probably won't get one, so it is what it is. But let's talk about the trailer itself. Now, it talks about Black Widow saying how she needs to, you know, own up to her past and deal with things in her past and whatnot. Now, this isn't an origin story, which we were all expecting to believe at first. Remember, everybody was thinking this is going to be an origin story. Well, it's not. It's like, it's a past that she's had, and it's potentially the point where I think this goes exactly, it is more so an origin story of how she was recruited by S.H.I.E.L.D., but yeah, it's an origin story. It's an origin story. Let's just call it what it is. Let me not try to doll it up. It's a fucking origin story. And I still stand by what I believe that we are 10 years too late for an origin story on Black Widow. I do. Excuse me. Had we got this phase 1, phase 2, perfectly fine. We're at phase 4. The character is dead, and there's just I don't get it. Like, my belief is in my heart, this movie is solely to push Yelena, Florence Pugh's character, as the new Black Widow going forward. But she might die in this film. But I don't think you bring in Florence Pugh just to kill her off in one film. Not with the name recognition and value that she has currently. But in the trailer, there were a lot of great things. Like, there's a very, very much younger Thunderbolt Ross. So yeah, William Hurt, he is there. He's been de-aged, and he's even younger than when we first see him in The Incredible Hulk. Now, that is kind of, that is kind of interesting. Like, let me see. He basically could have helped recruit her, right? And get her to say, hey, your talents will be good at this organization, and send her over to S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, who knows? We get to see the fight scene that a lot of people saw at Comic-Con between Yelena and Natasha, and it is an amazing fight scene. And then you hear her call her sis. Now, if this be the case and they're doing them as sisters, or they're doing them as sisters because they both were in the Red Room and the program that basically trained them to be assassins, that might be the case. We don't know for sure. You get a first look at David Harbour as the Red Guardian, which is a hilarious look because, of course, if you don't know what the Red Guardian is, he is the Russians' equivalent and answer to Captain America. Well, you see him, and, they joke around how he's fat in the suit and whatnot. And it looks a little, there's comedic elements behind it. But the worst thing about this whole entire trailer is the Taskmaster. Now, remember how Ghost ended up looking like a Power Ranger? Like they decided they were going to use this for a Power Ranger suit, but then they were like, nah, let's get this to something else. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, Taskmaster looks abysmal. It looks terrible. And, hopefully it's... Whoo, I really don't have shit to say because it's like, I wanted this to work. When you say the Taskmaster's there, you're like, yes, let's get it. And hopefully there's some concept art that came out that everybody's like, yo, hopefully that's the suit he'll have towards the end. But I swear, this is going to be a real off-putting point. But it's make this real off-putting, for the movie for a lot of people. Because I was like, the fuck he look like? And again, I saw this at 12:30 in the morning. So it is what you get there. And you do get the fight in the trailer of Red Guardian versus the Taskmaster. So, it's going to be interesting to see what this all does. You get Natasha in a new suit. She has a white version of a suit, which has her, as I said, look like a goddamn stormtrooper. But we shall see what it all turns out to be. I'm looking forward to it with that. Now, let's go to my DC news, because there's more DC news. And I forgot, again, I haven't been on in about 2 weeks, and I've been meaning to come back with y'all. Like I said, this is probably going to be a shorter episode, but damn it, I said I'm going to get it out to the people. Stargirl. Now, it's going to do something that's kind of unique. It's going to air both on the DC Universe and then followingly on the CW. So it almost run consecutively on both. A lot of people are saying that's a dumb move because you want people to get the DC Universe app. So why would they get it if they can just watch it on fucking TV? Also, she's going to be introduced in the Crisis crossover. So there is a CW fan base that is not going to buy DC Universe no matter what. But there is a fan base that already has DC Universe, and that is where the show is set to go. Now, how do you do it, and how does it go? We don't know. Warner Brothers and DC are... How do I put this shit? There's a fucking article that came out, right? And they were saying Warner Brothers and DC do not know how to make Superman relevant today. What the fuck? He is an alien, an immigrant in America. A billionaire wants to kill him and be president of the world. I think it works no matter what you do. I think that story actually can work. It's just put it in the hands of writers that know. that are in touch with, for the lack of better words, the pulse of today. Because if that's what you're trying to do, you need writers who are actually able to tell the story as if it is currently happening in today's society. Mark Bernardin, for instance. People that would notice shit and write it and give you something. You'd be like, well, damn, I never looked at it this way, but it works this way. That's how you do it with that, right? Also, there were talks that Michael B. Jordan did, in fact, meet with Warner Bros. About playing Superman. Here's the thing. There were no set exact dates to lock down because they didn't know where they're going, and he couldn't give them a definitive yes because he has a lot of projects himself in the works. So, what this means for everybody who's getting excited and pumped up and like, oh shit, he may be playing Superman, he may not. Again, it all depends on timing. Everybody else is still going to go back to losing their fucking minds. But thinking, well, I hope they're not going to turn Clark Kent black because Clark Kent was white and he's got to be white and he's just white from Kansas. No, he's a fucking alien from Krypton. Then you can have him do the Earth 2 version of Val-Zod. Now, the problem is I don't think the DC film universe is exploring other worlds. I know Joker is allowed to be held to that Elseworlds title because it's the easiest way to accept what it is. However, every other DC film that we have, though they may not be directly connected, they are connected. You get what I'm saying? I know that shit sounded confusing. So, we're not doing the type of films anymore for the DC universe where they go into one fucking film, where we get to a big team up, a collective film, a culmination film. We may get it later or longer down the line, but that shit ain't happening right now. What we are getting are films that will play off each other and will reference something about another character somehow, some way. For instance, Shazam did it with the bullet that shot Superman, a replica Batarang, Freddy wearing all the shirts. That's what it did. And even the Superman cameo at the end. Now, Birds of Prey, will there be a Batman, reference? Because, again, this is the same Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad, which was connected to everything else. More than likely it will, as will Wonder Woman 1984. If you do a Val-Zod, as much as it could work, I agree it could work, I think it kills the hopes of generating and building the story that DC is trying to build. I'm not saying I don't want Val-Zod. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. So I don't want nobody in their fucking feelings talking about something. Well, Jay said he don't want Val-Zod. What type of black man is he? I fucking would love to have Val-Zod. I fucking would love to see a take on that. I would also love to see him be Icon. Even though it's not Superman. But, because of course Icon has gone up against Superman. And again, it kind of defeats the purpose. But you don't know. You don't know, right? We don't know exactly what will happen. It just is going to be a matter of time and seeing how it all plays out. Again, I would love to see him in the project. I'd love to see him in the role. I think no matter what role he does, people are going to complain. I'm just keeping it A100 with y'all. People are going to complain if he's Val-Zod and say, oh, why can't he be Superman? And then people are going to complain if he's Superman. Oh, why he got to be a white character turned black? Why can't he be Val-Zod? Like, yo, can you motherfuckers just enjoy a comic book movie for what it is and stop stretching shit out? Like, if a comic book movie is good or bad, that's the last thing we should judge it on. Like, who plays characters? What character is gender bent or gender swapped sometimes, or even race swapped? If it's not essential to the character, it should not matter. I have to say that because that was the big argument I was getting in with a lot of people when it came to Michael B. Jordan being Superman. Everybody was like, well, why would you turn him black and he's always been white in the comics? I was like, well, when action comics were written, they were only written for white people by white people. It was only until a long time later until persons of color who had prominence came about. Now, the rebuttal I heard was, well, if you're going to make Superman black, we can make Black Panther white, which is the dumbest fucking response anybody can ever give you. That I hate that argument with every fucking stretch of my imagination. I hate that argument with every fiber of my fucking being. I hate that fucking argument so much because it is so goddamn dumb. Black Panther is predicated on his race, not just because the name of the character is Black Panther. It is an African king who is the king of a sovereign nation, the most powerful nation and technologically advanced nation in the world. It is predicated on T'Challa being a black man, not a white guy, not a Latino, not an Asian, Middle Eastern, anybody. It's predicated on him being African, black African. Okay? Superman was drawn as an alien refugee that migrated to a planet to have a new life, a better life, who is adopted by parents. Now, again, I've said this before and I will continue to say this. How fucking interested if it would be if Michael B. Jordan is Clark Kent, a little black baby from another planet is migrated to Earth and raised by two white parents in Kansas? Man, that shit would be amazing. That's how you'd make it relevant today. Or, I mean, again, this is because we're talking Michael B. Jordan. Okay? I just want to make sure I clear it up because we're talking Michael B. Jordan. Because you can say, well, what about making him Hispanic or Latinx or making him Asian? It depends on if you have those actors in that role that can fit that role. That Warner Brothers believes can fit that role. Because it's not on us. It's not on us. It's on Warner Brothers and whoever they decide to choose as a director, should they decide to go forward with this, right? That's on them. So I don't want all of us, I know I spent too long talking about this. I don't want everybody putting weight and volume onto this because there's nothing that has come of it. It was just talks. That is it. It's just talks. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is slated. It's just talks. Speaking of talking and talking too goddamn much. All right. I saved this for the last of the DC news that I had. So, in a recent interview, the dude who's going to be playing the Batman, playing Bruce Wayne, Robert Pattinson, right? The man that made us all have to say, you know what? He's got some other good movies besides Twilight, okay? He's in The Lighthouse. He's in a couple other things, all right? We can hunker down. He won't sparkle. He won't be the bat who sparkles or the bat who twinkles. Well, he said earlier this year that he believes Batman isn't actually a superhero. He said he has his own unique take on the type of character Bruce Wayne actually is. And this is what this motherfucker said. He said it to Today. It doesn't count. When he was asked what it's like to play a big screen superhero, he said, you need to have like magical powers to be a superhero. When it was important, when it's pointed out that Batman got a cape, and he said it was a good point. He said the cape, I'll give you that one. But then he also addressed the huge amount of fame, and he said he hopes that starring in a Batman won't lead to a similar level of attention, the fame level he got. He said, there's a part of me that thinks it's just impossible to be what happened with Twilight because it was so sudden. And I'm hoping it won't be people hanging outside my place. I just think I'm kind of boring and old now. All right. Let me go ahead and get into this. Shut the fuck up. Batman does not need to have superpowers to save the world or the universe, which he has done with his wits, his mind, his technology, because by that same argument, Iron Man is not a superhero. Hawkeye is not a superhero. The Green Arrow is not a superhero. So many people who are technology or just, skill and tactics based would not be considered heroes. Why would you say that? Now, everybody's been waiting to hear what you were going to do in this role. Everybody's been clamoring to find out who was going to be the Batman, because after so much, so many delays and so much pushback and all this hesitation, everybody was wondering what is going to happen. Who is going to be the Batman? And when you find out it's Robert Pattinson, and like I said earlier, everybody was like, wait, the Twilight dude And then we was like, yeah, the Twilight dude. And then we was like, but listen, you got to give him a bit of credit because he will actually have different type of role than what he has in fucking, Twilight. He'll be Bruce Wayne, and look at his other movies where he's played dark and brooding, so he can do it. And then everybody's like, okay, now I believe him to be my Bruce Wayne. And then all of a sudden he comes out with this fucking interview and says the man who is an iconic hero, iconic superhero, who went from being just a vigilante to a hero, is not a hero because he does not have powers, and the mind is one of the greatest powers in all of the world. He may not be a mutant like Professor X. He might not possess psychic abilities or any type of telekinesis, but his mind is able to solve some of the greatest mysteries ever, and he has saved the universe. I get, for a lot of these actors, these roles are just another day at the job. Oh, it's cool. I get to be Batman. I get it. It's like, oh, it's nice. I get to play as this person. That's fine, right? That's cool. But at the same time, you are coming into something that has a long-standing lineage, a long-standing legacy. He is known as one of the greatest superheroes of all time for a reason. And for you to belittle and demean it, and I understand you have to make a take on Bruce Wayne, but you can't change. You shouldn't even really change who Bruce Wayne is, but Titans did that shit, and we all still are like, what the fuck? But you get what I'm saying? Like, yo, why is this happening? I don't get it at all. I just don't get it. Let's recap some of the shows. So I watched Supergirl, all right, because this was the last Supergirl before Crisis starts for her. Lena was about to pretty much brainwash the whole town and figure she was doing it good. Having Mitch Pileggi as Supergirl as Rama Khan, yo, that's so dope for me. That's so dope for me. I remember that man is Shocker, and so when I saw him on that, Leviathan is being used heavily in Supergirl. Now, I've always said I'm glad they started giving Supergirl some of her own stories. I just hope they don't continually use Superman villains and whatnot, but Leviathan is one of those. Now, to bring this in the world and us going into Crisis, and where Crisis, when it ends, if you're familiar with the comic books, all of the universes become one. Will that still be a thing? It'll be very, very, very interesting to see. Alex is so badass because Kara's trying to convince she can talk Lena down. And at one point, Alex is like, yo, I'm going to have everybody just blast ass out this mountain. And if you don't do it, I will. I'm like, well, damn. Also, you had Hope, who is the computer in Eve Tessmacher's body. She was like, yo, I can go sacrifice myself to help fix the satellites and get shit back online. And Lena was like, no, Hope, you can't do that. You're the only friend I had. And Hope hit Lena with the realest line ever. She was like, I'm not your friend. I'm something you created to have a to serve a purpose. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus, that just hit me in my soul. Oh, that resonated, and it was real. And then Lena realized, she was like, well, fuck, she's got a point. Basically, everything is saved. And at the end of Supergirl, we get a crossover tie-in where we see Nash Wells at the place of the location where he believes the Monitor is hiding, and a voice in his head tells him, you have the knowledge inside of you. And he opens up the tomb, and a wave of what looks like dark matter draws him in. Also, I have to bring that up because earlier in the episode of Supergirl, John has made peace with his brother Malefic, which, by the way, give me Phil Lamar in anything, I'm so fucking happy. I'm so happy. And one of the things, after they make peace and they help to save the planet again, Malefic is supposed to be going back to Mars. And John tells him, you were meant to be the pariah, but in fact you are the promise. The reason that stood out to me is because Nash Wells will become pariah in the crossover. Will it mean anything? Is it just a coincidental line? And having Nash Wells at the end, I'm not sure, but it may not. Who knows? I tried. I tried to watch Batwoman again. In the first 5 minutes, Batwoman is fighting a couple of the rabbits, Alex's goons in the alley. She tells one dude, "Give me your jacket." And one of the rabbits says, "What? It's vintage, bitch." This is a line. This is a line. A dialogue is so cringeworthy in Batwoman. The acting makes you want to hold yourself. I wanted this show to succeed. I felt it had so much promise, as I've always said, off of watching Batwoman's introduction in the Elseworlds crossover last year. I have lost all of that. All of that. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, and the new episode of Arrow has not dropped yet. But the most recent episode had David Ramsey directing a phenomenal fucking... Yo, my man directed a dope-ass episode. It was Groundhog Day-esque, and it had Oliver and Laurel repeating the same day over and over. And it ended up eventually him trying to save Quentin Lance. And it literally was, the reason was the Monitor and Lila had them going in to have them learn a lesson. Like, you can't change your destiny. You can't change fate. Things that are supposed to happen will happen. And because Oliver kept trying to save Laurel. And Laurel kept trying to save Quentin. Oliver kept trying to save Quentin, excuse me. Laurel kept trying to save Quentin. And at one point, Laurel finally got a chance to say goodbye. And that was all she needed. She broke her loop. And then when Oliver realized, like, I gotta let you go. I gotta let you actually die and everything. And don't even bring it up to him. It's like, yeah, I have to let you die and let it happen. He's broken out of the loop. And that was something that was like crazy for me. That was crazy for me. Yeah, that was pretty much that. Nothing really significant has happened. Like I said, except for in the end, Oliver and Laurel are waking. They wake up on Leanne Yu, and everybody else is with them. And so again, this has been the perfect love letter for this season, and we're coming close. To Crisis, as well as the finale of Arrow. And I know something. I know a secret, and I really want to tell y'all. I really want to tell y'all this one, but I think I might have to hold this back, and it sucks that I'm going to hold this one back. But some Crisis spoilers, man, and I know I've been giving y'all some gems. I know I've been telling y'all certain things that was going to happen. All right, I'll tell you one. All right, you ready? Because I know y'all listening in your cars and your headphones like, you going to really do this? All right, here's one for y'all. This is a disappointing spoiler, all right? Tom Welling will not be putting a suit on, just so you know. All right, so on The Flash, I haven't seen the most recent one. Ralph had fought Dibney, and Barry had to give him a blood transfusion, and in the process, freaking Ramsey used it to infect Barry's mind, find out he's the Flash, and while Barry's fighting with Ramsey, his blood work in his mind, the Speed Force comes again and takes the form of his mom and tells him, like, yo, you have a bigger purpose. And, like, Barry freaking out, like, are you fucking serious? Like, I want to live my life. I ain't got no choice of this. Lightning struck me. Like, all that shit, crying and whining. And so basically, they do a tug of war in Barry's mind, for Barry's soul per se. And when it comes out, Barry's in the Cortex with Caitlin, with Frost, with Cisco, and I believe Iris. And in the whole process, they're like, oh shit, that's not Barry. And then they realize it, and Barry puts on the suit and zooms out in white lightning to get to blood work. Also in this episode, Amelia, is that her name? Allegra tells Iris she knows that Barry's a Flash, but also was shocked as shit. She's like, yo, everybody else know? And so she tells Iris she has to write that story on the Flash about him disappearing in the Crisis, which, by the way, here's something everybody needs to get. This is how you know it's kind of a spoiler, but it isn't. So, yes, the Flash is going to disappear in Crisis. Yes, it's going to happen. But it's going to be the Jay Garrick Flash. That's what it's going to be. That's the difference. So, I gave you that one too. Black Lightning, I just did a review for the episodes. It is building up to the eventual war, more so with Black Lightning versus the ASA versus the Markovians, and you don't know who will be who and who will be with whom. So we got to figure that out. But check out my review of that on my YouTube channel. And I think that's about all I got for this week. Again, it was a short episode. It's me. It's trying me to get all this stuff out. I wanted to get something to y'all. I promised you all during the summer I was going to do this. And so I've been having so much to do where I was like, okay, I got to figure out if I can get a co-host. And then when I can't, I'm like, all right, well, let me just go ahead and do it. And so here's where I am. Thank you for everybody who's been, I know I'm sounding like I'm all off kilter because I'm doing 5 different things while I'm recording this podcast, to be quite honest with y'all. But thank you to everybody who keeps rocking with me and who literally listens weekly, who hits me up and asks me, when is another episode going to drop? I did not have any calls to the hotline. You can always call the hotline, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. Again, sorry, y'all. Sometimes if I seem scatterbrained, it is me doing everything. I am the one who records this. I am the one who produces it, who edits it, who uploads it, who also has to do all the articles for Mad Titan, the website, who has to do all his videos and everything, and audition for stuff and host stuff, and it's a lot. It's a lot. But I thank you all for being understanding and rocking with your boy. And I also try to keep shit all the way real. Like, legit. I just try to keep shit 100 with y'all. I don't ever want to be a different type of dude. Also, if you want to support, you can always join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. Let's join the Supervillain Squad. I'm dropping a bunch of content over the holiday break. You can also get your Mad Titan podcast t-shirts. tpublic.com/user/Mr. J Washington. That's MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. Twitter and Instagram, Mr. J Washington as well. But I do want to give a lot of love to the members of my Supervillain Squad because you all support as well, and I'm grateful for you all. Thank you to Adelia Chamberlain, Akeem J. Brown, AZ Badfish, Brandon Buckingham, California Joe, Kasi Najalobé, David Adams, DJ Snacks, Greg Morrissey, Hank Staley, James Smart, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, John Mariano, LK, Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Rudy Rueda, Steve Tozen, and the Prince That Wasn't Promised. I appreciate you all. Again, you guys are going to get everything, you're going to get a flood of shit this holiday break. Because even while people are off, I'm going to keep working because I have to give things to you all. I have to put content for you all, and no one else is going to put content out but me, but your boy. So I'm going to do that, all right? Thank you to everybody who keeps listening. Please continue to rate and review on podcast websites. Those reviews are amazing, and they literally are inspiring, and they keep me to doing this, to be quite honest. Because at this point, I'm going to be like, man, fuck all this. But no, they keep me to doing it, and I'm grateful. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will holler at you guys next week. I'm definitely going to have one up here because the crisis will have happened in its first half. I'm also doing a live after show on my YouTube channel for Crisis. I'm going to do it on Sunday night. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAY Washington 80. I'm going to do my own live after show. I may have a guest or two. I don't know yet, but I'm going to make it happen. So I want you guys to be along for the ride with me, all right? Holler at y'all later. Till then, take care. I'm out here. Peace.